Impromptu speaking.
Ooh.
Did you ever go to a tournament in when you were at Branksome Hall that like a Fulford tournament for debating?
I actually didn't go to a tournament when I was at Branksome.
Did you ever go to a tournament where they did other speaking categories besides debating? Because we
I've
used to do that a
not.
lot. I used to go to debate tournaments, and maybe that's when you go to qualifiers and these larger tournaments, but they have all
Mm.
sorts of speaking categories. And impromptu speaking was the most popular one because debaters love this type of speaking. I call it
Oh yes.
debating candy. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to think. You're going to select one from three topics, get 1 minute to think, and 2 minutes to speak. Here are your choices.
Alrighty. Haven't done this in a while. Alrighty. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing lasts forever. These three simple words encapsulate a profound truth about the nature of our existence. Throughout history, we've witnessed the rise and the falling of empires, the birth and the death of famous people, and the passing of generations, right? Consider life, consider what we witness in our daily lives, seasons, days, years, right? The ebbing and flowing of nature, these seasons change, they bring forth new life in the spring, they thrive under the warmth of summer, they shed leaves in the autumn and, surrendering to the cold of winter, right? The cycle repeats itself every year, it's different. No state of being can really endure forever. So in our personal lives, we experience the transience of relationships, the shifting tides of fortune. We're lucky sometimes, we're lucky on other times. Decisions, right? Every decision we make leads to a different outcome. The success and failure are temporary, and then our our lives really change in accepting this impermanence that we find the motivation to live fully, to love, and to pursue our dreams relentlessly. Nothing lasts forever. This may seem depressing and discouraging at first, but instead, I find it to be inspiring to motivate us to appreciate the beauty of each passing moment, to really appreciate what's going on in our lives, and offering new opportunities and fresh beginnings to new starts because we can always throw away the past that maybe it's not so satisfying what we have. So um, let us not, I think, fear the transience of passing time and instead building a motivation, building a meaning to life to appreciate every passing moment and to appreciate the things that are going on within our lives, which we will eventually change and will eventually become better in the movement of all things.
Wow. Speech. See, that's what the debater can do. Only 1 minute to think. Look at you with all that language. Listen, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, this transient state. The Buddhists say that we are rivers of change within rivers of change. So there's nothing that stays the same.
Yes.
Everything
Yes.
is constantly changing. But we convince ourselves sometimes that we're the exception. And we want to drop an anchor in this changing world and say, I'm going to remain the same, stagnant, and everything changes around me. And then the Buddhists would say, that's a delusion. That's
It is.
crazy.
Yes.
That's not reality. And when you're living a delusion, according to the Buddhists, you're going to suffer. Delusion and suffering go hand in hand. And
Hmm.
so, like you said, you have to learn to go with the flow, to change, to keep changing. So, what do you think about that?
I think, although I'm not Buddhist, but I think that yes, you know, you're changing, everyone around you, everything around you is changing, and you flow with that because it's like a cause and consequence cycle. Whatever is happening around you affects you. Whatever is happening on you affects your surroundings as well. So I think it's just a matter of relationship when it comes to you and your surroundings, and you're never standing forever. Everything happens to you, and
There's a
it's just
couple of older gentlemen on my block that have
mhm.
recently lost their wives, including a good
Oh
friend of mine's
no.
dad. Like my good friend's mother died recently. So we have these older men. My good friend's mother and dad were married for 60 years.
Wow.
60 years. And all of a sudden he's without her. And to me, that's the saddest thing. Like, it's like, oh my God, how does someone like that find the will to carry on? And I guess some people don't, because you see a lot of cases where the husband dies soon after the wife and things like that. right?
Yes.
But I don't know
Yes.
how you're supposed to move along with that change when it comes. It's almost like, to me, it would. I don't even want to think about it, but I don't know if I could find the will to carry on. You know, what's left to do in life once you lose your life partner like that?
Yes. You have a really important person in your life. Sometimes it's like meaningless after that. You think that you've lost a big chunk of your
But it's
everyday.
dangerous to think that way because I think you can find meaning if you're looking for it. And there's always your
Definitely.
children, right? Your children don't,
Yes.
you have to figure out a way, I guess, to make your life meaningful. And I think
Hmm.
this starting this podcast for me was a way of organizing my insights. I always collect my insights, and we have this thing called insight development in the podcast where
Hmm.
I'm starting to, sometimes when I go back and I listen to the podcast episodes, it's almost like a diary for me. I feel like I'm analoging my thoughts, my insights, so that one day my kids can benefit from them, or their kids or something like that. And that gives me a lot of meaning. And that's completely separate from any relationship or anything like that. So I think you have to do things in your life to give meaning and purpose to your life, so that when you inevitably lose someone close to you, you have something else that you can kind of hang on to.
There's so many things that you can do. It's just whether or not you want to do or whether or not you believe in, there are things that are still worthy of living for.
I have a grumpy old uncle who's
Hmm.
81. I visit him and I'm going to go see him tomorrow. Um, he doesn't want to wake up the next day. Like, he wish he wasn't here. His wife died
Oh.
13 years ago. He is miserable. And I keep telling him, do something, find something. You used to be a journalist, you were a writer, you wrote books, write something, read, do something, find a hobby. And he scoffs at all of my ideas, and he says, there's nothing to live for, there's no meaning. I just wish I would be gone. And I looked at him and I said, what about me?
Oh.
I come see you every week. I said, isn't that something? I said, we play backgammon, we talk. And he looked at me in the eyes and said, do you think you were a reason to live?
Oh no.
Yeah. I said, I guess it gets hard. And you're only what, 17? How old are you?
I'm 16.
You're 16. I guess
Yeah.
it's hard for you to imagine what life is like when you get to be 81. But let
Hmm.
me tell you, it's really hard to stay hopeful and positive and find meaning when your body keeps breaking down at every turn. When every day brings a new problem and illness, and your family has abandoned you, you're left alone. You know, I see where
Yeah,
he's coming from, and like, I
I
feel
see
for
as
him,
well.
but it's almost like he's in a conundrum because he can't find happiness, and nobody wants to be around him because of the way he is.
Yeah, it's
You
it's
know,
like an ongoing cycle.